everybody. Welcome to Tales at 2 again this afternoon. My name is Miss Erin. Thank you for all the folks that keep coming, joining us every afternoon. Anybody new out there, we appreciate you joining us as well. We'll hopefully be continuing these streams for a while during our being stuck in our homes, trying to get nature out to all of you guys. So those of you who know Cedar Run, you might know that our nature center is currently closed, but our wildlife housing area and our trails are still open, as well as our wildlife hospital is still bring in wildlife that needs help. So today's topic for Tales at 2 is going to be something kind of fun. Usually it's a hands-on kind of thing, but I'm hoping you guys enjoy it virtually as well. So we're going to be doing for the next 3 days actually, build a bird. So we're going to be learning a little bit about what makes each bird different, what makes each bird unique, how each bird is adapted or built to do the job that it wants to do. So if you guys can picture the different birds that you know in your brain, you know that each bird looks a little bit different, right? It's going to live in a different habitat. It's going to eat different kinds of foods. It might be flying differently or running around or moving differently. So we're going to be sharing a little bit about what makes each bird kind of special and unique. Before we get started, does anyone have any ideas of what we're learning about today? So I said build a bird. So any parts of the bird that you think we might be learning about today? Nothing? All right, friends. So today is going to be bird beaks. So we're going to be learning a little bit about the bird's beaks. So if you all can picture some birds that you know in your brain, I'm sure the bird's beak or bill might look a little bit different depending on the bird that you have stuck in your head. Like if you're picturing a duck, you might have that long flat bill that's going to help him when he's finding food in the water, right? You might also picture a bigger bird that's a meat-eating bird like an eagle or a hawk. Their beak's going to look way different than that duck. Or if you're maybe picturing a little robin hopping around in your yard, you know his beak is going to be much smaller and used for different things. So we're going to start out today talking about how different bird beaks are kind of like the tools that humans have. So if you all can see this, each type of beak is going to be used for a different thing. So different birds like to eat different types of food, and in order to eat those different kinds of foods, their beak might need to be built a little bit differently. So some birds might have beaks that are going to help them to eat meat. Some birds might have beaks that are going to help them get things out of a log or a tree and might be able to get into there like that. Some birds might be eating things in the water. Some might be eating little bugs and insects. So depending on the type of bird and what they usually like to eat, their beak is going to be a little bit different. All right, so I've got some human tools, and I want you all to help me figure out maybe what kind of bird might be having this sort of beak, but also what kind of food it might be eating with it. So the first thing I've got are some pliers, or we could even maybe use some nutcrackers in this case. So some birds might have beaks that are very strong and heavy like this, that are going to crunch something, right, as they're eating it. Can you guys think of a bird that maybe has a beak that's like this? No? So the one that I bet a lot of you guys know that would have a beak like our pliers or our nutcracker would be our friend the cardinal, because he's eating a lot of seeds. He's going to be crushing or cracking those seeds open. So he has to have a strong, heavy beak that's going to help him crack something. If he was eating something in the water, this beak isn't going to help him very much. He's not going to be able to kind of stick his bill in the water and scoop something out very easily. So these guys that are mainly seed eaters or cracking nuts and things open, they're going to have a real strong, heavy beak like our pliers would be. All right, so my next tool is our tweezers. Can you think of any birds that maybe have a beak that's going to be pinchy, like tweezers? Any ideas? So the one that I've got for you all today, a lot of birds are going to have this pointed, sharp beak. One that I have for you today, guys, is the warbler. So a little bug-eating bird. So he's going to use this pointed beak to help him grab bugs, right? And he's maybe going to pull them out of a log, or he's going to pull them out of a tree. He's going to be able to grasp it and pull it, right? Because the end of it is nice and pointed to help him get it into a hole or a small little area where you can find something tasty. All right, my next one is our fish net. So our fish net, of course, has little tiny holes in it, right? It's letting the water go through, but it's also helping us maybe catch fish or something small with it. Any ideas of who could have a beak like this? You guys are being quiet on me today. So the one guy that has a beak similar to our nice fish net is going to be our friend the pelican. So he wants to let the water out of his beak, but he wants to hold on to the fish that he's catching. So he's going to let all the water kind of strain out of that beak, and he's going to be able to use it to hold on to the fish, which is his real food source that he wants to eat.
Looks like we're just having a little bit of a lag because I'm getting their answers, but after you say it.
Lag, that's okay. You guys are smart, I know you are. All right, oh, I just gave you the answer. Did anybody see it? All right, my next one, oh, there's still some water in there, is going to be like a little eyedropper. So who might have a beak that's going to pull something out like an eyedropper would? Maybe they're drinking a liquid of some kind. I'll give you all a couple seconds. So you probably maybe already saw my picture. The hummingbird is going to be the guy that has the medicine dropper or the eyedropper kind of beak. So he's not going to be crunching nuts. He's not going to be eating fish. He's going to be drinking nectar from flowers. So this long, skinny beak that he has helps him pull the nectar out of the flowers and be able to drink it like he'd like to. All right. We've also got safety scissors. Now, my friend that has the beak like this is not going to have safety scissors, right? He's going to have super, super sharp scissors. You guys have any idea of what kind of bird might have a very, very sharp beak to cut and rip and tear? My videographer's laughing. So our friends, the raptors, so the meat-eating birds, are going to have very, very sharp beaks. So this guy would not do so great with that pelican beak. He doesn't need a beak like the hummingbird. He needs a beak that's very, very sharp to help him cut up the food that he would like to eat. So he's going to have a very, very sharp, sharp beak to help him catch the live animals that he wants to eat. All right, this one's kind of similar to our fish net, right? But it's going to strain things out a whole lot more, right? It's a little mini strainer. Any ideas on this guy? Got some people walking around in the background. So this last one, the strainer, is going to be my friend the duck. So the ducks are going to be eating little bugs and plants in the water, and they have to strain the water out. They don't want the water in their mouth. They just want the food that they're going to eat. So the water's going to go straight back out their beaks, and they're going to hang on to the things that they really would like to eat. All right, any questions so far, friends? Nothing? All right, keep them going if you got it. So now we're getting to the Build-A-Bird part. You learned a little bit about what some of the tools are that the beaks are built like. Now I'm going to show you guys some actual bird skulls, some actual pieces of different birds, and we're going to try to figure out maybe what sort of beak that might be, but also what kind of bird it might be attached to. So if you guys are just joining us, Build-A-Bird we're going to be doing over the next couple days. We're going to start today with beaks, and we're going to be learning about feet tomorrow and wings on Thursday. So we're going to hopefully build on our days, but if you miss a broadcast, that's okay too. All right, so I'm going to start with this guy, if we can get a good look at this one. As you guys can see,
Hunter says hi.
hi Hunter. It's not a very big skull, right? It's not too much smaller than my hand. It's got pretty big eye sockets, pretty big holes there, and it's got kind of a curvy looking beak. So would anyone have an idea of what kind of bird this one might be, or what his tool is? What sort of beak what he's using his beak for? I'm giving y'all a second. So this one's going to relate back to my scissor friend. So these are going to be a meat-eating bird. He's going to have a very strong beak, right? It looks pretty strong and heavy, but he's also going to have that curve on the edge of him. Now it tells us he's a raptor or meat-eater. You're pretty close. It's not an eagle. An eagle would be much, much bigger, but it would have the same kind of shape to it and the same kind of beak. This is a smaller friend that maybe some of you guys, if you go to the shore or you live near a lake, you might get to see him. This is our friend, the osprey.
Osprey, somebody just said it.
So the osprey is a lot smaller than the eagle, but his beak is going to be built pretty similarly. They're both going to be eating meat. They're both eating a lot of fish, so they have to tear those fish open. All right. So these guys don't have a very big head, but they are a pretty good sized bird. If any of my friends have ever seen a red-tailed hawk, an osprey is about the same size as a red-tailed hawk. All right. So to keep it kind of similar, I've got this guy. So this was my osprey, right? This is my new one. A little bit bigger, some differences, but if I turn them sideways, you guys might see the beaks look kind of the same. So this guy is a meat eater too, but there's one big difference. Does anyone see anything different about them? So if you guys check out this one, the eye holes or the eye sockets are much, much bigger on the second skull. And that's going to tell me it's a bird that has pretty big eyes, right? He has to have room in his skull for eyes. So this bird is our friend the owl, the great horned owl. And he is going to still be eating meat. He's still got that sharp hooked beak. His beak is much, much thicker and stronger because he's eating bigger things. But he has bigger eye holes to help him see better in the dark. So we might notice a skull that looks similar to our osprey, right? But he's going to have much, much better eyesight when he's seeing outside in the nighttime. All right, let's go to this one. Let's see if you all can figure out this one. So almost as big as my hand, much skinnier looking, right? Not as mean and fierce and scary looking. We have any ideas on this one? All right, friends, this is going to be our straining beak. So this guy is our mallard duck. So the mallard duck, he's going to use this crazy biller beak that he has. It's going to have, of course, the bottom part like this. And he's going to strain the water. He's going to spit the water back out that he doesn't want in his mouth. And he's going to be able to hang on to the little bugs and plants that he wants.
We did get the call for duck.
Ah, perfect. So our friend the duck, he has a pretty unique beak. Most people have seen this one before, right? So if you've seen it before, you definitely can tell he's our duck. One thing he has that's kind of small, though, if you guys notice, compared to our osprey and our great horned owl, his eyes are a lot smaller. He doesn't need as good a vision because he's not really hunting. He's just straining stuff out of the water. So he doesn't need to see things from far away like our meat-eating birds do. Okay? All right, this one's my favorite one. You ready? So check out how big that guy is. He's as big as my hand. All right, he's kind of long and skinny. He's sort of pointed. Any guesses on what he uses this beak for before we guess on what kind of animal or what kind of bird he is? It's a tough one. It's kind of an interesting beak, right? You guys can see it even has pieces that slide off. So the beak is bony, but it's covered up by something like our fingernails that protects it. So this piece that actually can slide off, which is kind of neat. Do we have any
Stork.
ideas? Ooh, stork. You are very, very
Erin.
close.
Kim said heron.
Oh, you got it. So stork and heron are very similar to one another, and their beaks would be pretty close. So this one is our great blue heron. He's our guy that's got those long legs wading out in the water, and he's actually using his beak to catch fish. So he's using his beak to stab and to grab the fish out of the water, and then he's able to swallow them with that nice long beak. So not only does he have a long, tall body, he's got a nice, long, skinny beak to help him stab stuff in the water. He might eat fish, mostly, but he also eats frogs and other things that live in the water. So he's got to be quick, and he's got to be fast, and he's got to stab that food that he wants to eat. All right, we've got one more, friends. And this one always confuses people. All right, it doesn't have as much bone on it as some of the other ones. The eye holes aren't that big. A little curvy on the beak part. Right? Similar looking maybe to our duck, right, in its shape. But it's also kind of similar and pointy like our osprey. Does anyone have an idea of what this one could be? I feel silly waiting for you, but I want to make sure people can answer. All right, so this one is somebody that eats a lot of different kinds of things. And sometimes they call beaks that do a lot of different things, not just one certain thing. They call it the Swiss Army knife. So if anyone knows what a Swiss
Hunter
Army
says
knife
vulture.
is, ooh, Hunter is very close.
Hawks.
Ah. So the Swiss Army knife beak can help you maybe pick things out of the ground. It can maybe help you eat meat sometimes, or pull berries or leaves off of trees. So Hunter is very close with vulture. But this is actually the turkey, a regular old turkey. So our friend the turkey vulture, his beak does look a little bit like this. It's just a little bit sharper because he's eating, right, dead decaying animals. But our friend the turkey, they're eating bugs, so they're digging in the dirt and pulling things out of the dirt. They're eating berries, they're pulling things off of bushes. So their beak has to be able to do a lot of different types of things. So this is our friend the turkey, all right? So some birds might have a beak that's only going to help them do one thing, right? Like our osprey, he's only going to be eating meat. Our friend the duck is really only going to be straining food out of the water. But other birds might eat lots of different types of things. So they might have a beak that has many different uses. So if anyone's ever seen our friends the crows, right, they've got kind of pointed beaks. They're eating a lot of different things too. So they've got sort of a Swiss Army knife kind of beak also. They're going to be able to eat lots of different stuff without changing out their beaks or using a different tool, right? If we want to cut something, we need our scissors. They want to be able to do everything all at once. All right. Does anyone have any questions for me today?
Barbara says, thank you so much, with lots of smiley faces and hearts.
Oh, thank you, Barbara. All right, friends, that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching this on
Later.
Feel free to ask questions. We will check back at the feed. And like I said earlier, we will be continuing Build a Bird the rest of the week. So we'll be checking out feet tomorrow and wings on Thursday. And if anyone wants to mark the calendar for Friday, we are going to be natural egg dyeing. So for our Easter holiday coming up, we'll be doing some egg dyeing on Friday if you'd like to join us then. So thank you everyone for coming out this afternoon. Again, as always, if you're able to give a donation, we would love a donation to help support our work here at Cedar Run. We still are here and we're still doing all the things that we need to do to help the wildlife. Have a great afternoon.